For the time being, the defenders of the Republic succeed in beating off the besieging army. It can't last, of course, but it seems that the city is open again for the time being, and the Trevelyan party decide to move on to Florence and safety. They set off, leaving behind in Rome a certain Miss Roper, an older lady who has evidently been the girl's schoolmistress in the past. Miss Roper is travelling with a brother who has been taken ill and cannot be moved, so she will come in handy for Mary to write to. Not only Miss Roper is left behind in Rome, Claude has been invited to come with them to Florence, but has suddenly, and for no very good reason, refused. That Mary is beginning to find herself involved more deeply comes out in the fact that she writes to Miss Roper not just from Florence, but on the way there.
Why doesn't Mr. Claude come with us, you ask? We don't know. You should know better than we. He talked of the Vatican marbles, but I can't wholly believe that this was the actual reason. He was so ready before, when we asked him to come and escort us. Certainly he is odd, my dear Miss Roper. To change so suddenly, just for a whim, was not quite fair to the party, not quite right. I declare I really almost am offended. I, his great friend, as you say, have doubtless a title to be so. Not that I greatly regret it, for dear Georgina distinctly wishes for nothing so much as to show her adroitness. But oh, my pen will not write any more. Let us say nothing further about it. Yes, my dear Miss Roper, I certainly called him repulsive. So I think him, but cannot be sure I have used the expression quite as your pupil should. Yet he does most truly repel me. Was it to you I made use of the word, or who was it told you? Yes, repulsive. Observe, it is but when he talks of ideas that he is quite unaffected and free and expansive and easy. I could pronounce him simply a cold, intellectual being. When does he make advances? He thinks that women should woo him. Yet if a girl should do so, would be but alarmed and disgusted. She that should love him must look for small love in return, like the ivy on the stone wall, must expect but a rigid and niggard support, and e'en to get that must go searching all round with her humble embraces.
Mary has got Claude right. He has been frightened off by a piece of well-meaning meddling by Georgina, the cat's paw being George Vernon. As Mary writes in mortification to the good Miss Roper, who, as she knows, is in touch with Claude,
Dear Miss Roper, it seems George Vernon, before we left Rome, said something to Mr. Claude about what they call his attentions. Susan, 2 nights ago, for the first time heard this from Georgina. It is so disagreeable and so annoying to think of. If it could only be known, though we may never meet him again, that it was all George's doing and we were entirely unconscious, it would extremely relieve your ever affectionate Mary.
Claude did indeed sheer off at the thought that a trap was closing round him, but now that Mary has gone he realizes that he misses her, that he loves her indeed. He determines to follow and find her again. A chase ensues. The Trevelyans move from Florence to Milan, to Como, to Lugano, to Lucerne. Claude is on the trail, but things go wrong. Mary, confessing frankly now to her dear Miss Roper that she hopes he will find them, tries to sow clues along the way. At Milan she leaves him a note, but the hotel servant is careless and he never gets it. At last, hope fading, he tries to stop loving her.
Let me then bear to forget her. I will not cling to her falsely. Nothing factitious or forced shall impair the old happy relation. I will let myself go, forget, not try to remember. I will walk on my way, accept the chances that meet me, freely encounter the world, imbibe these alien airs, and never ask if new feelings and thoughts are of her or of others. Is she not changing herself? The old image would only delude me. I will be bold too, and change, if it must be. Yet if in all things Yet if I do but aspire evermore to the absolute only, I shall be doing, I think, somehow, what she will be doing. I shall be thine, O my child, some way, though I know not in what way. Let me submit to forget her. I must. I already forget her.
This is the crisis of Claude's life, and as those with a religious belief find that at such times of crisis their religious faith is tested, so Claude, the intellectual agnostic, whose only creed is mental honesty and clear-sightedness, finds that now, at the nadir of suffering, it is the strength of his unbelief that is tested. He hears a barrel organ in the street playing a psalm tune. It suggests to his mind the consolations of religion. He puts the thought away from him. He will get by on his own resources, without misting over his mind with what he would regard as illusion. This is the true poetry of that brave, lonely, earnest Victorian agnosticism. I find it moving.
Comfort has come to me here in the dreary streets of the city. Comfort, how do you think? With a barrel organ to bring it. Moping along the streets and cursing my day as I wandered, all of a sudden my ear met the sound of an English psalm tune. Comfort me it did, till indeed I was very near crying. Ah, there is some great truth, partial, very likely, but needful, lodged, I am strangely sure, in the tones of the English psalm tune. Comfort it was, at least. And I must take without question comfort, however it come, in the dreary streets of the city. What with trusting myself and seeking support from within me, almost I could believe I had gained a religious assurance, formed in my own poor soul a great moral basis to rest on. Ah, but indeed I feel it factitious entirely. I refuse, reject, and put it utterly from me. I will look straight out, see things, not try to evade them. Fact shall be fact for me, and the truth as ever, flexible, changeable, vague, and multiform, and doubtful. Off, and depart to the void, thou subtle, fanatical tempter. I shall behold thee again, is it so, at a new visitation? O ill genius thou! I shall at my life's dissolution, when the pulses are weak, and the feeble light of the reason flickers, an unfed flame retiring slow from the socket, low on a sick bed laid, hear one, as it were, at the doorway, and looking up, see thee, standing by, looking emptily at me. I shall entreat thee then, though now I dare to refuse thee, pale and pitiful now, but terrible then to the dying. Well, I will see thee again, and while I can, will repel thee.
Claude has now given up, convinced that the fates are against him. Though he cannot forget Mary, he will forget the hope of ever meeting her again. He returns to Florence, returns to Rome, cannot bear Rome, is moving on. Groping round for something to hold on to, he finds knowledge, that great positive value of the 19th century, the arduous, strenuous pursuit of knowledge, which seemed a sufficient ideal for so many good and brave people to give their lives to.
Not as the Scripture says, is, I think, the fact. Ere our death day, faith, I think, does pass, and love, but knowledge abideth. Let us seek knowledge. The rest must come and go as it happens. Knowledge is hard to seek, and harder yet to adhere to. Knowledge is painful often, and yet when we know, we are happy. Seek it, and leave mere faith and love to come with the chances.
Mary's reaction is as typical of her as Claude's is of him. She too has given up hope. She knows he will not come now, but her mood is gentler, more submissive. With the intuition of love, she sees exactly across all the miles that separate them how Claude's mind is working. The story is over. The lovers are not going to meet again. The happy ending for which we were hoping right up to the last few pages is not coming. And they, the characters, and we, the readers, must carry on with the only aids we have left, honesty at least, and clear-sightedness, gentleness, understanding, compassion, the positive values that sustain all Clough's work.
You have heard nothing. Of course, I know you can have heard nothing. Ah, well, more than once I have broken my purpose, and sometimes only too often have looked for the little lake steamer to bring him. But it is only fancy. I do not really expect it. Oh, and you see, I know so exactly how he would take it. Finding the chances prevail against meeting again, he would banish forthwith every thought of the poor little possible hope, which I myself could not help, perhaps, thinking only too much of. He would resign himself and go. I see it exactly. So I also submit, although in a different manner. Can you not really come? We go very shortly to England.
That was Poet to Poet. The readers were Deborah Maclaren and Patrick Romer, and the programme was presented by